in 1999, and that's where I lived. I started my volunteering here in the city of Pacific as a co-Girl Scout leader, graduated Girl Scout for my daughter, and then got involved in the community as far as helping out with Earth Day programs and Pacific Partnership. Got involved with the Prairie Home, which I sit on their board of directors for about 4 years now. I also chaired the Pacific Partnership for a while. I was vice president on the Lions Club, and for 2 years I was the chair of the late night program that we had for the youth here in the gym. If you mind getting my kids, oh yeah, we just have a lot of fun with the kids too. The second Friday of every month. That was for about 2 years. So now I am been in the trade for as a consider for about 16, 17 years now. 10 years ago, I had an accident on the job. I was concerned about whether I was going to be able to work in the field anymore. So I took a class at our union hobby from the dealers. Started getting involved in our union. I recently have been promoted to our office as the business development specialist / political coordinator. So I get to run around and meet with a lot of elected officials in my day job as well as my night job at the company. So in the years that I've been here in Pacific, I've really grown to love this community and come together with everybody. I enjoy the camaraderie that we have in our city, and I want to foster that and get us back to that state. It seems like in the past year or so, people have kind of become dismissive and closed in, and it really makes me sad. I enjoy this community. I used to love walking my dog, so it would be an extra long walk because I would run into my neighbors and have a conversation. Doesn't seem to happen too much anymore. The division that's taken place in the city is not only in my neighborhood, not only in City Hall, but it seems to be everywhere. And I'd like to see that change and let's come back together and be the community that we are. And I believe with my leadership skills, with my 13 years of management, and all the time that I took to move with participating in community events, that I have all the qualifications to be a good mayor for the city. Thank you.
trying to be as transparent in how we run the business of the city government. If there are complaints or issues that need to be investigated and dealt with openly, and results clearly explained to the citizens so that they understand that we are not trying to hide anything. I don't believe in good old boy network. I think the best people for the job need to be hired and let them do their job, oversee them, make sure that they're following the rules and in compliance with state, federal, and local laws. And I hope in the long run, as this city transitions over the last year and a half, that we will see the community come back together. I hope it will not have the division that we've had. So that's my statement.
Thank you very much, guys. All right. Smoke before fire, so we'll go ahead first. And the first question. Will there be a monthly newsletter sent out to the people of Pacific to let them know about city changes, etc.? And
So, did I understand that to read a monthly newsletter? Okay. So, I know that's something that the council has talked about a lot of different committees have talked about, that the citizens would really like to have information come out and up-to-date plans and visions of what the mayor has for the city and working together with the council what we want to do. Pacific Partnerships was able to pull that off on a quarterly basis, and I think they have a good model that we may be able to work off of. It's kind of spendy, and there's got to be a way that we can do it and try to work it into the budget, because I think it is a great way. One of the biggest complaints I think we hear from the citizens here in Pacific is our tone of communication. It's really hard to get messaging out there on what's going on. It's great news. We have that reader board now, so that helps a little bit, but there's a lot more that we can do. One of the things we wanted to do, our IT wanted to get our website up and running and make that a real feasible use for the city as well. Not everybody has internet and computer and understand that, so a monthly newsletter would be a good idea. Somehow I think it should be feasible, and we should be able to work that into the budget and make something along those lines. Maybe not monthly, maybe quarterly, but I think we can get something done.
Well, it's kind of hard to follow the same question, same answer. The gist of a newsletter is very, positive way of getting information to citizens, but it is costly. It is an issue that you've got to have people be able to put the information into that newsletter. You have an editor, you have department heads putting information. I believe one of the best ways for us to deal with this is our website. We've been working with Auburn's IT service. We work with our website and get that up to date. Like Leanne said, if we can find the budget and the people willing to participate in the newsletter, I think it's a positive way to do it. But I know like through the lodge, we have a monthly newsletter. We can go get our bulk costs as far as mailing a newsletter. So it's something we can look at it, and I think it's something we can talk to the council with and see where we can place it in the budget.
thank you. Next question. Will an accounting be made documenting the costs incurred by the city during Sy-Sun's tenure? Costs like attorney's fees, lost revenue lawsuits, settlements, claims, increased insurance costs, etc.
So the question is, will an accounting be made documenting the costs? Absolutely. We are responsible or accountable for all our costs incurred. We have to report to you what the expenditures have been. That's part of being a government. We have to account for cost, input money and output. And so part of that is our responsibility as a budget. We are about 10 months behind right now, understanding exactly where our budget is. We know that we've got a large, it's been documented in the news media, has got the information, how much the last year and a half has cost in attorney fees, engineering firms costs, things like that. It has been very expensive dealing with the issues that we've had to deal with this last year and a half. We have no city engineer, so we've had to hire out the HBL, Skillings and Connolly, and they've had to deal with the cost associated with helping the city get through some of the engineering requirements for Stewart Road and Milwaukee and other road conditions, as well as other repairs. So absolutely, I think it's one of the things that we both talked about last night is we have to find out where we are budgetarily. We have to report on that, and part of that will be how much we had seen go down the road in the last year and a half.
So that is a big concern of council. We've been discussing it at countless meetings where we are financially. The finance committee, we're talking about it, and we don't know. And that's one of the major goals, one of the first things that I know here, Mayor Pro Tem, trying to dive in and try to figure out where we are financially and all those costs. Assessing a lot of the lost revenue and the extra costs upon the city, that's something that we're going to find out in this process. What we do with that, I'm not sure what we can do with that other than know what the information is, but we need to try to just move forward from there and build a city from there. I don't know how we can recoup any of it. There may be avenues, but I don't think that would be my focus. My focus would be to get us back on our feet and find out. And during the process of all the research, we're going to get that information, and I'm sure people are going to want to know. I want to know. And as John said, there's extra attorney fees that we have spent. There are probably things that are going to be coming before us that we don't even know about yet. And that's one of the scary things. We're not sure just what is out there and what information we do not know about. Council didn't know about a lot of things. There wasn't a real good open-minded communication, and that's one of the things, if I'm mayor, that council and I will have real good open communication so we know where we are and what is going on in those different situations. Hopefully, we get back on track, and one of the things that we might be able to do as far as the insurance costs, if we get the city running stable again, we'll be able to get ourselves back in the risk pool and have more insurance and maybe have somewhat insurance like we had in the past. And that will be a goal for the city, to get back on that path and get fighting towards a more stable ground where we can get into the risk pool insurance and save the city and not have to tie deficits.
If elected, how will you get a feel for what the citizens want to happen in the city?
So I think one of the things that's really important, and it's been mentioned before, is the open door policy and being very transparent. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I kind of write my own schedule, and so there's already, in case I got the appointment, my boss and I made a deal that there are certain hours I'm going to be here in the city, and it was posted on the door so citizens know when I'm accessible. And my phone number would always be. I think it's really important to listen to the citizens and listen to what their concerns are and what is bothering them. You pay our salaries. The taxpayers pay for us to serve as a citizen. That's what you elected us for, and that's what you want us to do. And so in not telling you what's going on and not keeping you in the loop of everything that is going on in the city and not listening to your concerns, we're not doing our job. We're not doing what you elected us to do and put us in office for. So that would be my number one thing that I would want to do. One of the other things that I thought would be a real good idea is I'm all about community involvement. A lot of people know that about me, and I've talked about having I'd like to form a citizen group, maybe called Rebuild Statistics, where citizens can come and we can get together and meet and talk about some of our ideas and how we want to grow the city. There's lots of things that we can do and bring the community together with all the different ideas and all the different assets that our citizens have too to bring to the table. We can grow off of that and really make it useful. The other thing I talked about last night too, is utilizing that fifth Monday to know that council chambers will be open, the mayor will be there, if you have a question, it's kind of like, come ask the mayor, or let's talk about it, let's brainstorm about some things that we want to do. What's the community event we want to bring? We have tourism money, let's bring some events to our city and use that. So different things like that that we can do and kind of open that up and try to involve the community in building our city.
As Leanne said, some of those are some of the same ideas that I would look at. You know, having a community organization of citizens looking at some of the ideas and inputs from them. I believe in a suggestion box. I believe in open door policy in relationship to when the mayor is available. You can stop in, talk about some of the issues, concerns you have. We can identify who that issue needs to be dealt with. You know, because the mayor's not going to be able to do everything. So what you have to do is look at what the issue is. Is this a public works issue, a police issue, how we deal with it, and the best way to deal with it. The other issue is that, like, other than Leanne, I do have, not a 9 to 5, I have 4:30 to 1 o'clock p.m. work shift. So every day I work 1 mile away from here. I see myself being available after I get off work at Boeing, being down here, seeing what's going on, communicating with the employees and the divisions and department heads to figure out where we are, and available to the citizens as they come in. The other issue is the website. Once we get that website up, we're working with Aubur's IT, like I said. That is another avenue of availability for communications from citizens, as well as us putting information out. The other is the council meetings. Please come to the council meetings. That is the most informative way the citizens can find out what is going on with the council, with the changes that we're trying to enforce, what the cities bring to the council for new road projects, whatever. That's where we need to be. I also feel that, you know, we talk a lot about what can we do to commend and bring information out, but the reality also is that the citizens, you guys, we have to get involved. We have to come and find out what's going on. And again, the council meeting is a big avenue of that source of information. Come to the meetings, find out what the council's doing, question what they're doing, question what the mayor's doing. That's involvement. Get involved in the civil service. They need somebody in the civil service. They need people in the park board. They need people in the planning commission. Get involved with your community. That's the things I see as far as us communicating back and forth work the best.
Thank you. This one I grew asked, I think you guys kind of answered already. Will your work schedule in place allow you to take time out for emergency? So
I'm sure my job would prefer that I stay the 8-hour shift, but I don't see an issue if I allow me to make some modifications if I need to come down and deal with something during the day. You know, I also have, right now I have 18 days worth of vacation on the books. I'd rather use it for vacation, but this is a commitment that I'm willing to put forward. You know, if I'm elected by the council as the mayor, then I'm committed to making sure that I'm here when I need to be here. But I'm a full-time employee and I need to make sure I pay my bills. I guarantee you the salary that as a mayor gets is not a pittance, but doesn't pay my bills. I'm not doing it for the salary. So, and it's not a stepping stone or leap, you know, into another arena. So, anyway, that's.
So, as I stated, it's not an issue with my job. I think the last, probably 6 or 7 months when I've been attending meetings during what is supposed to be normal work hours, meeting with other surrounding communities and entities regarding interlocal agreements to help our city, suggestions on what we can do, things that we need to be looking at. I've attended several meetings with King County Council, urban I've never, I don't think, not failed to be here when there was an emergency, and I've taken days off when we had the flood, and also when we had the freedom. I wasn't even in the job where I'm allowed to do that. I know my community comes first, and that's something that we really foster in my organization, is community and family.
Do you have any specific plans to get the citizens of the city together with the government?
So I think I kind of highlighted on those a little bit. I want to have ask the mayor on the 5th Monday, and also I would like to form a citizen group to rebuild the city Pacific and create new ideas and new different things that we want to do. I think it's really, really important to encourage citizen involvement. I can't stress that enough. This is a community that is very tight-knit. We look out for each other. We take care of our neighbors. And there's areas that we see where we can improve. Even before the last 18 months, we saw areas that we can be better stewards of our citizens, and I'd like to enhance on this. One of the things that Councilman Steiger and I talked about, when there was the freeze or that, how do we contact our vulnerable? We need to have some kind of system in place so that we know where to go and check on those people. There are other things that we can do to be more engaged with the citizens and be better stewards of our citizens.
A lot of re-answering some questions, but I do believe in an advisory, citizens advisory committee, working with the mayor on issues and bringing them forward and trying to figure out what we can do better, what better we can, events and issues that we can get involved in. So, we've talked about it 2 or 3 times now. I don't know if I have any more information related to that question.
Thank you. The next question is, how do you feel about community services?
Are we talking about? Well, I think it's very important that we continue our community services as far as the senior center and the youth organizations. I mean, keeping the kids involved, keeps them off the streets. We have a nice gym here. We've got a good youth organization, I believe. And if it's not, then we need to look at what's wrong and what we need to do to make it more robust. As far as the community service and the senior center, just like everything else, if things are not working, that information needs to move forward and upwards and figure out what we need to do to put better. If it's material, it's equipment, is it food, is it transportation? What is the issue that we need to address and how best to deal with it? So yes, it is very important. It is one of the things I find when I came and got involved. One of the cornerstones I think has been involved for the last decade that I know of, heavily involved as far as community services in the city.
So, I'm sure a lot of you know I feel very strongly about the community services that we have in the city. The youth programs, the Tiny Tot program that we carry on in the gym, the summer lunch programs that are very important. Thought we were going to try to expand that and do it at the park too, to make it more accessible to citizens to have opportunities for that free lunch. Also, at the senior center, I've helped out a lot on their pancake feeds at Pacific Days, and also at the bazaar in the kitchen. I volunteered my time to help out. I think those services are very important to our citizens as well. I think there are a lot more services that we could be doing at the senior center. I believe it's underutilized, but at this time, I feel very strongly, and I think we could search out a lot of different avenues. As a matter of fact, I met with somebody from the United Way that we were having a conversation, and she was telling me about some of the services that we might be able to bring here in Pacific and talk about some different programs to bring and more access. That van is not utilized near enough. That was given to us by King County to use for our citizens, and that's what needs to happen, and we need to start using that more and take advantage of